What's up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? Here we are checking in Sunday, April 14th, 2024 on the Boxing Source podcast. Of course, you got the host here, J.R. Bell, and I got a great guest here with me to chop it up. My co-host for today is Mr. MVO, Brooks in Boxing, and then we're about to have on here our great special guest here, of course, undefeated 17-0. with 12 wins by way of knockout. He had his last bout on March 16th, there where he faced Shakur Stevenson. But glad for him to join on with us here. It is Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield here in the building, man. What's going on? You here with us? Oh, okay, hold up. Looks like we got something going on. Let me see something real quick. Yeah, I should be able to hear you, but I can't hear you right now. Let's see. I know they had the audio joint here. You might have to come off and come back on, but we're going to see about getting you on because it has your mic on. Let's see. Yo, MVO, you able to hear? Yeah, he went off and went back on. So we'll see if we can get the audio things working for him. Yeah, so let's see how that goes. Hold on a second with MVO. I'm gonna do a real quick check on it. Let's see. Okay, he was muting himself on there, but we're gonna see about getting Floyd Schofield on with the audio. Get the audio thing checked out, and once we get that fixed, then he'll be able to chop it up here with us here. But very thankful for him to join on here. So so we're gonna see how that goes. So let's see if we get try to take two how this goes. Let's see. Yeah, should be able to hear a little bit.
I can hear you.
Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield Jr. is in the building, man. What's happening with you?
Not much, just relaxing today. Just got an IV, so.
Oh man, yeah. So hey, yeah, you gotta have to chill here for a little bit, man. But you ain't gonna, go too hard on the folks in the gym or whatnot. So you just taking it easy.
Yeah, pretty much. I start training back tomorrow, so I'm just trying to get my body back, back in the mode.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I know that you had, of course, that fight that was pretty much a month ago there against Shakur Stevenson, man. That was a crazy bout, man. It was wild, to say the least. It was wild to say the least, man.
But yeah,
it looked like he was trying to turn that into a wrestling match and do some body slamming and throw you over the top rope or something, man. It wasn't like no boxing match there, man.
I can
so
tell you,
what to go through that?
I enjoyed it for sure. It was a hell of an experience for one.
Yeah, man. I mean, he like made it real sloppy, and then just went down below the belt with the punches and everything like that. But you just try to keep your composure as much as you could through those 5 rounds. But yeah, they just made it like really crazy. You know what I'm saying?
You too.
And I said, whenever you need me, just call. 3 in the morning.
What's up, man?
Yo, what's going on, Floyd Schofield Sr., man? What's happening?
Everything good. What's happening with you?
All good, man. All good. Glad for you to get this going here for us here at the Boxing Source, man. You just got your son on there. He's recovering from the IV. Recently got right there, man. So you said y'all been doing a little bit of recovery from that last fight that was just talking about there, man. But that was a rough one. That was definitely a rough one.
Yeah. It was a rough one. Floyd, let it out real fast. It wasn't really a rough one from the opponent, but it was a rough one for a coach standpoint. Floyd should have used his jab more, so it was a learning experience. So that's what that was.
Yeah, gotcha. I mean, there's a couple of things. It's a learning experience. Like you said, just seeing like how the opponent comes at him in those first couple of rounds, you just say, just keep your distance from him so he doesn't tie you up and just make your arms basically be scrunched in so you won't be able to throw punches. So just keeping the distance and you'll be able to take your time on that joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Floyd game plan, he closing his shade so it ain't like real bright. So if you hear noise in the background, that's what that is. The game plan was for the guy to get disqualified. I mean, he did exactly what we had to do. The kid was known to be a very dirty fighter. The whole goal was to make sure that he could get out, my son could get out the ring safe without getting hit in the head, back of the head too many times, and things like that. So we knew the guy was going to get disqualified because the guy don't know how to fight clean. That's just him. Our goal was to come with the hook and keep aggravating him to the point that he started fighting dirty. Why go 10 rounds with somebody that fight like that if you could frustrate them and make them act out of character? So a lot of people don't understand boxing is also mental. So he executed the game plan. He just shouldn't have jumped in where he could have got a cut. He should have used the jab. That was part of the game plan also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just make it to the point where it doesn't get to where you have them real close to have those type of head clashes or whatever it is, to kind of make the thing be muddled up like that.
Right, and that's an innocent mistake. He's 21 years old. Most guys would have got cut over their eye, and even champions in the first round, they wouldn't have been able to keep that together like that with the blood dripping and not being able to see on one side for the first 3 rounds. So they wouldn't have been able to still keep their composure. So that's why Floyd started jumping in, because he couldn't see. He came in the corner. People see. He said, "Dad, I can't see out of that side of my eye." So that's why he was jumping in to close the distance. So the guy wouldn't jab a lot to him. So that's what that was. It was all boxing. But I'm gonna give him back the phone because I know the fans want to hear him. Hold on.
All right, for sure, man. Yeah. So Floyd. So I mean, yeah, you had that fight there against Stewie Suero. That one was a rough run to get through, and then you had, of course, like a busy 2023 where you were coming up in the ranks in the WBA. I think you had like one version of a WBA title from last year. I know that I was at the fight that you had in April over in Las Vegas in T-Mobile Arena. So you were able to execute in that one very well and get a quick stoppage victory, man. So you had a very busy 2023 going into this year. Like, how was it going through, those four or so fights during 2023?
It was good. I got a lot of. I think I had like I had 4 fights in 2023, so it was a good, busy year. I got a lot of experience. It was a good year. Hopefully, I can have another year like that this year. But yeah, man, that was a good year for my fights. I ain't even gonna lie. 4 fights. I'm glad they kept me busy. For one, I'm glad they kept me busy. And like I said, hopefully I can get another year like this. I mean, like the last one, this year.
Yeah, I mean that would really work definitely to your favor as far as like getting as many fights as possible. But you're right there in the rankings in the WBA at the 135-pound division. Last I checked, I think it was like at number 2. Right there. So it's like, hey, you got Frank Martin and then the champ there, Gervonta Tank Davis. So I know you want to be busy and have a couple of fights to prepare yourself, but you're also like right there, right in the doorstep of like being in a world title shot. Real quick, wanted to jump in. Got the chat here. War Week Boxing. Brother Joe's on there. He says, "Go Floyd Schofield Jr." Big ups to Just Do Boxing in the building. It says, "Salute the kid Austin, man." You got G5 Jeff in the building, D for the win, also in the building, man. Salute to y'all. You had this fight that was, of course, last month, and then you said you're pretty much like going right back in the gym. Were you like looking to prepare for like another fight coming up pretty soon?
Yeah, hopefully around June or July, I'll be fighting. Because if I'm going to, get that 4 fight a year, I would have to fight somewhere in between June or July. So that's the date we're shooting for. We don't really have a set date, but it would be towards like, I think the end of June or early July. So either or, I'm fine with it. I have a proper training camp, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's pretty much, like I said, if you're able to have a proper training camp, you get yourself set up to get ready to go for that next fight, then you'll pretty much be ready for pretty much like anybody. But like I was saying before, you're there in the lightweight division. Of course, there's like a lot of fighters out there in the lightweight division, and you're pretty much like right there within the WBA rankings. And I did mention, of course, Frank Martin and Gervonta Tank Davis. And it said like a number of other fighters that you've had your name tied to, like Keyshawn Davis there. Of course, they're at lightweight. And, you have like other fighters that they've been talking about, man. So, like, how do you feel about, like, being in there within those, like, top fighters at lightweight?
I feel good because, all these fighters, they get talked about on a day-to-day. So, for me to be included in that conversation, it feel good because, I've been working towards this goal, for as long as I can talk, I've been doing this, since I was 2 years old. Just straight grinding, no other sports, just strictly focusing on boxing. So it's something, that I earned, and I still got a long way and a lot more to accomplish. So this is just one of the first stepping stones. And like I said, I'm grateful and I'm glad, I'm able to get the opportunity to be included in these conversations, with world champions and, other good fighters. So it's a blessing. But like I said, my job is nowhere near done. So I'll be happy once I'm, named amongst the greats.
Yeah, for sure. I know that, some people have kind of tied your name to, not only like Keyshawn Davis, but like Shakur Stevenson, or like even Abdullah Mason, who, recently had his bout. He had his bout last night there. And it's been like a crazy, what has it been, like the past few months or whatever it is, because, they're talking about you and Keyshawn, and then, Keyshawn's talking about Abdullah Mason, and Shakur Stevenson talk about Abdullah Mason. Like, what do you feel about those guys? Like, kind of like, saying your name or whatever it is.
It feels good. Like I said, like Keyshawn, he's a silver medalist. Shakur, he's a world champion, also a silver medalist. It feels good, and like I know Abdullah from the amateur, so it's like, I ain't gonna crap on him. He's a pretty good fighter. So it's like I said, it just feels good to be mentioned amongst these fighters because, these are fighters people considering, as up and coming or, great fighters. So, it's just a blessing being able to be mentioned with these guys. I worked hard for it, so.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that you're originally from the Jersey area, but like now residing in Texas. So like, how has it been to like have that conversion from moving from Jersey area to like the Midwest or basically the South in Texas?
It wasn't hard, but it's just like, it's a whole different world. It's like real country out here, and I like it. It's a lot of land out here, and nobody really bother you down here in Texas, so I'm enjoying it, and I feel like I fit right in, to be honest.
So it's like more laid back, and you don't want to be like all in the spotlight, all the time. Yeah. So you could just be there, just chill out, and just be good. Nobody really bother you all too much.
Yes, that's what it is. It's just laid back. You can be you, and nobody gonna look at you crazy. It's kind of like let me see. It's like you don't mess with nobody, they ain't gonna mess with you. So you don't gotta worry about, I'm not just saying going in like the wrong areas or nothing, but like if you're not looking for no problems are gonna come to you. And like where I live downtown, so it's like a bunch of tourists. So like it's kind of like I like, hey, you're Kid Austin, or people running up to take pictures, but like that's like if I go somewhere else, but like downtown is like a bunch of tourists, so like I could just walk outside and not have to worry about nobody bothering me. And trust me, in this life, it feels good when you can go out and nobody know who you is. You can just breathe and not have to wear a hoodie or a ski mask. So
yeah, I don't know about wearing those ski masks or nothing like that. Maybe a hoodie. A hoodie will do something, but like a ski mask, I don't know, man, because you might not have.
It's to the point you gotta wear a ski mask now, because like sometimes you get the idiots who want to try you and try you. You'll get in trouble because your hands are registered, or they could sue you or anything. So it's like you don't want to take no chances, because if somebody try me, I'll punch him in the face. It's his story against mine. They gonna look at me because my hands is registered, and I might lose my boxing license. So it's like I take all precautions. I don't even risk it.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, that maybe some folks don't necessarily know. Like it'll be like, if folks know you, then they'll be like, hey, there might be a way that I could, get something out of this if I, try him or, test his patience or something like that. So they might have those type of instances where they'll, do something to try to, get you, out of line or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm not the type to like. I mean, sometimes when I go places, my dad make sure I have security, but I'm not the type to walk around with security because one, that draws attention, and two, it's just like I like to be like, by myself. I like peace and quiet. So it's like, I ain't trying to, risk no crazy stuff because I had a couple of times where people will bump shoulders with me and look at me crazy. I'm like, all right, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I really put my hands on you, but I ain't gonna do it,
Right. Like you're really gonna do it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I think I had my guy here, MVO. He's pretty much like a little bit busy. He's supposed to be on, but he's like kind of muted. But
I'm not busy. I just wasn't sure if you could hear me.
I was like, what the hell? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, he got that little brunch boxing joint going on right there, but he's like in the middle of a little bit of a situation there. He's hanging out.
Okay.
He said like over in the tri-state area, man, have you had like anything where you wanted to have a fight back over that way?
Not really, because I was born in Jersey. I wasn't really raised there, All I really know is like Texas, really. I mean, I was raised in Atlanta for most. I want to say up until I was like 15, 16, and that's when I moved to Texas, in New York, because that's where my family's from. So that's really my roots. So, but I mean, I have a lot of family in New Jersey, so I wouldn't mind, going back to, where I was born and have a fight there. Because my mom always tells me that everybody's wondering when I'm going to go there because, that's where I was born. So I'm not against it.
Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, you say you've been in multiple spots too. You say you've been in Atlanta. Atlanta, kind of like has had a couple of fights out there. Maybe you could go out there for a fight or two. You know what I'm saying? While you're coming up in your career, that could be another good look.
Mm-hmm. I fight anywhere, but it would be nice to go back to where I was born, and I won't mind fighting in Atlanta too. But right now, Texas is my home, so I would love to have a big fight here one day.
Word. Like you said, I mean, you're out there in Austin. They got like activity, a lot of activity there in the area, man. Whether it's like Houston, San Antonio, or whatever it is. Like you've had a couple of fights in both of those cities. So, and I know San Antonio's been, building as a very, very good fight town, and then also Houston. They've been having some activity as well. So, like, how is it like having those couple of fights out there?
It was good because it's close to home, so like I don't gotta fly and get out my comfort zone. Really, we could get in a car, and if it's in Houston, it's a 2.5 hour drive, and we there. I could cut my weight and just focus and it makes me. I'm close to home, so I'm comfortable. And then like when I fight at San Antonio, like I fought at the AT&T Center. That's like 10. 11 minutes away from my place, so that's even better. I don't got to stay in a hotel room. I could just go cut my weight, go weigh-ins, come back to my place. So it's good. I like fighting in Texas, and I think like once I start becoming the bigger A side, I like have more of my fights here. Because it's nice fighting at home, and then plus like all your family, friends, and your fans are here. So why not?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question real quick, Floyd. You were talking about trying to build up to become more of like a bigger A side. Do you have like a roadmap of specific fighters that you're targeting to help you reach that goal?
Right now, since I'm number
2.
Yeah, number 2, WBA.
I don't know. I just remember my dad. He called me. He was like, "Bro, you went up in the rankings." I'm like, "It's too early for this, man. Call me later." But yeah, I think 3 or 2. So
yeah,
I think
3.
Peta is right there because
yeah,
we know what. I mean, it would be good if Frank Martin wins, and I hope he can prove us wrong. But in my head, I feel like Frank Martin probably go night. So I'll move up in the ranking, and Williams and Peta right there. So I don't think they'll give me the Tank fight that early. So it would be nice to take Zepeda off the map and take his spot. So that's the one I'm really looking at because that's the highest rank right now. But like I said, I'm here to fight anybody. But as of right now, as far as like, getting me to that next level, I'm looking at Zepeda.
Well, what kind of timetable are you looking at to fight as Zepeda? Because obviously he's championship contender right now and is in line to fight for a title.
Yeah.
Are you looking to fight him within maybe let's say 6 to 12 months, or is that a couple years away? Because you still are early in the career.
I wanted to fight him, honestly, like being 100. Like I wanted to fight him my next fight, but in the interview, his coach, or I think it was him and his coach, they were saying that I'm still young and that all this other stuff, and like I'm like in my head, like when has Young ever had to do anything with boxing? But if that's how y'all feeling, like hopefully Oscar, will make the fight happen. So yeah, but hopefully that can get made this year. But yeah.
Yeah, because like Zepeda is like, not only number one in the WBA, but he's number one in the WBC, and he's like right around there in the WBO too, as well. So it's like he's pretty much like one of those guys you can pretty much consider as around like top 6 or top 5 rated in the lightweight division. So you would definitely want to get in there and get in the ring there and clip them off there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Real quick, like you're there in Texas, as far as like getting work out there in Texas, like how is it to like get work or go to the gym or spar or whatever it is? Because there's like a lot of action going down over there.
I'm getting to work out here. I'm known. Now, don't get me wrong. Sparring, you're supposed to like work with people, and sometimes you get fighters where like y'all can work. But I'm at the point now where it's like sparring is a fight, because how I look at it is if I'll use me and Devin sparring, for example. Devin they say he had a bad day. I ain't gonna crap on, maybe he did have a bad day. But we used it to our advantage. We did what we were supposed to do, and then we talk about it. That's how you get your name out there. So it's like if I put, somebody in there with me and I have a bad day, they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna be like, I'm with it. That's the perfect opportunity. Oh yeah, I did this such and such to Kid Austin. I don't blame y'all. So I take it as like a fight now. So that's why I can't really get work, because when I'm in sparring, like it's a different thing. I probably take it more serious than my fights. I know that's crazy, but I take it serious because that's where like you can get exposed at in your sparring. People love to talk about it. So I don't really get work out here because I'm known as being a fighter you can't work with. And it's not because I'm going in there, necessarily trying to hurt you or like trying to, prove a point. It's just that I know if I let you get the best of me in sparring, you're going to run with it. And I don't blame the fighter, but I take sparring, as serious as a fight. So I don't really get work out here. I got to like fly them in or travel. I do get some good sparring though. I got a couple good sparring partners that can go in there and last. But for the most part, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I ain't gonna say no names, but I slept some people.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
But that's I take my sparring serious. So that's why I don't really get work out here. Like my last fight, I barely got work. I probably sparred like 4 times. And that's terrible when you're getting ready for a fight.
Yeah, because I know, like it was some time like you were, just lining up to, get that spot in there for that about last month. So I know that you were in the gym and getting prepared for a fight. It's just, getting the proper work and being properly prepared for that opponent is a whole different thing, man.
Yeah, sparring is real important because that's what you practice in the ring. So me not being able to get sparring, it is what it is, but I've realized you can't just hit the bag and expect you to, do what you're gonna do to that person.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't a real person moving. So
Word. Now I know that you had some extensive extensive career there as an amateur, and then also here as a pro. Like, what would you say is like your the favorite city that you went to have a fight?
Favorite city I went to have a fight. Probably when damn, I don't even know. Probably either Houston when I was co-main on Ryan's card, or the one I had here at AT&T Center. Like I said, it was at home, so the crowd was like going crazy. The crowd was like stupid crazy, and I enjoyed it. So I mean, it would probably have to be the fights back home, because those are the fights where, you know, my friends, family, and right after I could just go hang out with my loved ones. So it'd probably be the ones I had in Texas.
Where so you don't like you said, you be comfortable being out there in Austin and just having that couple hour drive. So you don't even have to worry about nothing. Just go in there, handle business, and then after that, just hang with your folks.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the. Now I'm putting your phone on the charger. You need to charge your phone. But yeah, I have to get ready to go. We gotta go to a meeting.
Yeah.
But if y'all want another interview, just let us know tomorrow. We'll get on.
All right, that'll work. No, for sure. We'll be able to continue later on down the line,
All right.
man.
Good luck on your journey, man. Good luck in your next fight.
Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
All right, man. We'll catch up.
All right.
For sure. So yeah, that was Kid Austin Floyd Schofield Jr. there chopping up with us here for a little bit. Big thanks for him to come on, and then also with Floyd Schofield Jr. for being able to get him on there for us, and then we'll definitely be able to catch up with him later on down the line here for more. But hey, I mean, he's like I said, he's right there on the doorstep in the lightweight division, and I felt like it was interesting that he said that he wanted to have that fight with William Zepeda, and that they ain't necessarily had that set up, at least not yet.
They ain't giving him no goddamn Mexican that can make them some money right now. Stop playing.
And you know what it is, man. Golden Boy Promotions. You got Williams to pay that.
Hey, listen, they fucked up when they gave Rashidi Ellis Alexis Rocha.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do it again. They ain't gonna do it again. They're not gonna do it again. So they're like, hey man, maybe we'll wait a couple of moments there before we get him in the ring with Williams and Zepeda. We'll have him in a couple more fights there before he gets those type of things. But the other thing though was he kind of like was very respectful when I mentioned those names, Shakur Stevenson and Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis there. So he really going into that little thing there with those guys as of yet. But we're definitely gonna hear, of course, some back and forth with all of those guys there, as long as they're still within the lightweight division. So we're gonna see how that works with that, man. But big ups for him to be able to actually jump on here for a little bit, and then like I said, for sure we'll be able to catch up with them later on down the line here on the Boxing Source, man. But hey, anything else you got there for Floyd Schofield? Because I know that there's something else that we're going to be talking about here on.
Nah, let's get to Fat Boy from Ohio. I'm ready.
Oh man, listen. MVO was very, very disappointing. Okay, coming into yesterday, it was 2 fights with heavyweights, and we all know that MVO likes 2 beefy men bumping meat. And in the main event, there wasn't that much meat bumping. I'm sorry, man.
It wasn't any meat bumping.
There wasn't any meat bumping, man. Riyad Murray, I don't know where they got this man from.
Belgium.
Jeez, man. I hardly agree with Tim Bradley, but I agree with him when he said, I don't want to see Riyad Murray in the ring ever again.
No, I don't want to hear that. For the simple fact that we should not have seen him in the ring in the first place. Don't let these fucking people try to sell you on some bullshit. Oh, we never want to see him again. We should have never saw him in the first place. What really happened is Charles Martin cracked Jared Anderson, and ever since then, Top Rank been pulling the reins back because they're trying to preserve him for hopefully a big fight against Deontay Wilder. That's really what they're trying to do. They are going to wrap this guy in bubble wrap until they can try to get a big fight for him so they can get their money back on their investment. But this was a shitty matchup when it was first announced. Everybody was saying it, and it turned out not even exactly how people thought. It turned out worse than people thought. At the very least, we thought he was going to cook him, but he did none of that. And then this jackass walked out with a race car helmet and that was fogging up, looking like Daft Punk what is going on here, man? What are we doing?
It was a step back. It was definitely a step back there for Jared Anderson. Like the thing about it is like, I mean, it's one thing to, you know, kind of like have somebody that's not engaging, but even at this point, it's the heavyweight division. It's not like, you know, Riyad Murray is going to be just moving around the ring like he's a master of, you know, controlling ring distance and everything like that. Like you got to be able to, that should be an opportunity for you to work on cutting off the ring and prevent them from moving around and making sure that all of the punches that you throw count. Because as we've seen, Riyad Murray pretty much like nearly set the record for the least amount of punches thrown within like 10 rounds or something like that. Compare that to, you know, what we saw with what was it? Chris Arreola and your boy
Adam Kornacki.
Yeah, Adam Kornacki.
Oh,
man.
baby, that was a fight.
Yeah, like come on. Like, yeah. But even then, it's like if you know there's a guy there that's not willing to engage, like get him out of there. You got to be able to get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's like I didn't really see much out of Jared Anderson that said, like, okay, I should be able to get this man out of there. Like going into this, I said, yo, this should be not that much different than when he fought George Arias, you know, because George Arias at the time had been able to, you know, get up at an undefeated record up to that point. But he's more of a guy that's like a, what is it, cruiserweight or what do they call it now? Bridgerweight.
Bridgerweight,
you know? Yeah. So when he fought George Arias, it only took him like 3 rounds to get him out of there, you know. So he really had much of a problem, you know, with him. And you should have had the same thing here with Riyad Murray. Like, come on, like this guy's only, you know, been able to like compete. Like he's only got to this point, right? Because he had to win over Tony Oka, and that was by what, split decision. So come on, he's lost to like Kevin Lorena, man. Like you should be able to, you know, be able to dust the dude, and we didn't see that, you know, out of Jared Anderson. And then he has, you know, the whole little thing that was, you know, going on after the fight or whatnot, and I'm like, come on, man, you know, that don't make no sense. Miss B on here says, should Jared Anderson fight Tyson Fury? They ain't gonna put him anywhere near Tyson Fury, man. That's not gonna happen. Like, come on.
Is she serious? Come on,
Listen.
come on. Listen, we'll be lucky if he fights Fury.
or Fury. You're right. You're right. Because goodness gracious, like it was just a bad situation, man. Like that was I don't know, man. Because after this fight, I know that they said that they're gonna have Jared Anderson there back in Toledo for his next bout, but man.
And tell Miss B send me a picture. I'll let her know what kind of glasses she should buy.
But yeah, I don't know what would be next there for Jared Anderson. I know you said like they're pretty much like, you know, having him in bubble wrap or whatever it is. And to be honest, man, it almost seems like it, like having them have a fight with Riyad Murray at this stage of his career. Like, nah, man, that ain't it. Like you talk about a whole, like about 3 or 4 steps back. That's what they did here by having this matchup against Murray, you know, and going from that co-feature bout, man, you had the co-feature bout, man, you had Ajagba there against Guido Vianello, and that ended up being a better bout than I expected it to be. But the thing with Ajagba could have been knocked down. I don't know why Guido Vianello smothered himself when he had Ajagba hurt. He hit him with a right hand, stunned him for a little bit, and then all of a sudden the dude like goes for it like he's gonna tackle him, and he almost like pushed him out of the rope.
Yeah, because he was surprised himself.
Yeah, he must have been, because he was like, "Oh, I heard him. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? Let me go after him." You know, I'm like, come on, man. Come on. Like that was somewhere that opportunity was basically squandered by him not being able to take advantage, man. And after that, you had like I think F.A. Ajagba did pretty well as far as like mixing up his offense, but you could see that he has a lot to work on with the defense, man. So anybody that has like some type of a good counter punch or anything like that, Ajagba would be food. You know, I was thinking that they kind of set this card up with those two fights there. The headline, man, is that would have set up like the winners against each other. But I don't even see that happening. Like, I don't see them having F.A. Ajagba and Jared Anderson fighting, you know, next. That definitely ain't gonna happen, man. I didn't really think it was going to in the first place because they work, you know, they've been doing a lot of work in the camps together, and you know, they kind of like had that notion that they weren't going to be fighting each other. But it's almost like, what else do they have left out there in the heavyweight division? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, that's it, you know. But yeah, with Ajagba, he's supposed to be like up there in the rankings as well, man. Like, he's what, number 4 in the WBC? Yeah, ranked number 4 in the WBC. Of course, I ain't gonna put him anywhere near Frank Sanchez again, so that fight ain't gonna happen. And they got, what is it? He's at number 10 in WBO and number 9 in the IBF. So it's like, okay, what else are they gonna do with him?
If we're being honest, they should be fighting each other. They should have fought each other last night.
Basically, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why don't y'all, go ahead and have those guys fight each other, man? Like, if you're gonna put Guido Villanello in there against F.A. Ajagba, then y'all just pretty much saying, okay, we're seeing who do we have out of our group that's gonna be able to stand out and be the top heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that I see. So why not just go ahead and have these two guys fight each other? That's what I'm looking at with this. But like, as far as like right now, Top Rank ain't really doing all that. What is it? Like Miss B said that the promotions is better than Top Rank, PBC, and Matchroom. Well, we gotta see what type of fights you're putting together, man. Like, what's the card? Like, I need to find out what cards you're putting up there. When can we go over to those fight cards and be able to see what's going on with BMP? Because other than that, I don't know, man. But that fight with Ajagba and Villanello, that was surprisingly better than we thought it would be. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, outside of that, really didn't have much action there in the main event. And I felt like it was just somewhere they kind of like set it up there for Jared Anderson, man, because the thing is, Rhea Murray, like, nobody really knew that much about Murray. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, man. With Rhea Murray coming in as an unknown, like, you're gonna feature Jared Anderson in the main event, then you're gonna say, hey, okay, Jared Anderson, you're supposed to be able to handle business there against Rhea Murray, take him out, stop him, and that would be that. And he wasn't able to do that, and he made it a very sloppy fight. What one journalist said, that Rhea Murray was the heavyweight version of Edwin De Los Santos, which I thought was just that was terrible that they said that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't think we're gonna see Murray in action, well, at least on a televised card around these parts. So that's one. And then for two, with Jared Anderson, that really was a definite setback there for him. I know that we had one of my folks on here, Just Do, had the comments there for Jared Anderson, and he said, like, look, the guy with Murray just really didn't he wasn't really engaging at all, and just made it a sloppy type of fight. If you put for example, if you put Jared Anderson with somebody against like Charles Martin or against F.A. Ajagba, you're gonna see much more action, no question. But if it's something else or some other fighter that kind of like isn't willing to engage and is able to, try to make things more, more difficult for you. And if you don't have like any, all your things in a row, all your ducks in a row, as far as like cutting off the ring or, trying to, make the most out of the punches that you do land against your opponent, then you're going to have a fight like that. But, on the flip side, when it comes to the heavyweight division, people are, kind of like expecting for you to go in there, handle business, and be able to stop your opponent, or at least make it a good enough fight for, where fans will be able to enjoy, what you got. But now you're going to see, like, over these next few days plus, where Jared Anderson is probably going to be trying to, keep his profile going or keep his name up, or try to defend his profile as far as like being a highly rated fighter in the heavyweight division. So he's going to have some work. Maybe they get him back in the ring as soon as possible, probably in July over in Toledo, but we'll see. I mean, I've kind of raised one of the potential opponents that could be Luis Ortiz as an opponent there for Jared Anderson. If it's not going to be F.A. Ajagba, they might have, a few other fighters that are out there within the heavyweight division. Now, also, you did have some time back, Jared Anderson did call out the number one ranked fighter in the IBF, Filip Hrgović. And if you watch the performance there by Jared Anderson, like how would you feel about him fighting Filip Hrgović next? Like, would you favor Jared Anderson in a fight against Filip Hrgović after seeing what you saw against Riyad Murray? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, what's good? What's good there, Alan? What's happening with you? Yeah, man, I gotta see what's going on with it, man. Yeah, I gotta see what's going on with all that stuff. But I know we have this thing here. Yeah, Filip Hrgović versus Jared Anderson. I mean, it would be a really, really good matchup, but like right now, I don't know. I probably lean towards Filip Hrgović in that fight. So Jared definitely has to do some work. Yeah, like I said, I mentioned the whole thing there with F.A. Ajagba and Guido Vianello. Ajagba had to deal with Guido's counter punching in those first couple of rounds. He got seriously hurt there early in the fight, where he didn't even know where his corner was. But once he got his bearings back, you seen a little bit more out of Ajagba there, and I thought that he was able to utilize the uppercut. Once he utilized the uppercut against Vianello, that like kind of like took the shifted the fight over in his favor, and for it to be like a split decision, I felt like it was Ajagba by probably like 3 rounds. So one more, 3 rounds. So it'd have been like 97, like 93 or whatever it is. So I felt like he had more good moments in that particular fight than Guido Vianello did. But as I was saying before, you still have a lot to work with when it comes to F.A. Ajagba, particularly in the defense department, because like he could get caught easy with counters. He leaves his left hand down a lot, particularly when he's throwing a jab. When he pulls back his left hand down. You also saw that he kind of like switched over to southpaw in this bout there, where he kind of like looked a little bit awkward when he was doing that, but you didn't really see something there where Guido Vianello was able to take advantage of that. So while you've seen F.A. Ajagba be able to be on in the southpaw stance, they didn't really do much to kind of like say, hey, he needs to stop with that southpaw stuff. But I don't see him really doing that against what I would say higher caliber opponents. So that whole thing between being an orthodox and being southpaw by F.A. Ajagba, I ain't gonna see that much from him on that move. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that you think that Anderson could beat Tyson Fury. If Fury has ring rust, I mean, he does have ring rust, but at least at this point, we will see what happens with him when he's going up against Alexander Usyk. It's going to be 4 weeks from now. So we're going to see how he's going to look in that one. We had, of course, his whole little ordeal with Francis Ngannou, and some people thought he had lost Francis Ngannou there, but I think him having that extended time off could affect him. But on the flip side, you have Alexander Usyk that hasn't been in the ring for a while as well, and we've seen what happened with him against Daniel Dubois. Some people thought that was a clean knockdown there, or a clean punch by Daniel Dubois to put down Alexander Usyk. So I know that Usyk is really working towards this bout here. He kind of looks like he's around 240 something. You know what I'm saying? I think he was around 220. He was around 220, 225 against Daniel Dubois. But right now, he looks like he's around 235, 240 while preparing for this fight. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens with that, man. Ms. B says, well, at this point, hope Keith Thurman fights Spence. Man, y'all, you seen how Errol Spence looked there when he came in the ring there after that fight between Fedor and Zoom. You think he's gonna be able to make 154? You better start working on that right now. The way he's looking, he better start working on that right now. Because if he's trying to fight Keith Thurman at this point, I don't know. I mean, we seen Keith was in the gym up until that injury, so he'll be definitely in shape. So you're gonna have a Keith Thurman that's in shape going up against an Errol Spence, I don't know, man. We said thing with Crawford being pound for pound number one. Yeah, pound for pound number one. Face of boxing, I don't know. I don't know if he's face of boxing. Definitely a future Hall of Famer, but as far as face of boxing, I don't know about all that. Might see who the face of boxing is either on May 4th or on June 22nd. But Crawford, I don't think so. But man, here we are, man. We also got what's coming up, man. Next week, supposed to be the fight. Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia there, April 20th, over in Brooklyn. Ryan Garcia is still up to his antics or whatever it is, having all this stuff going on. I'm really leaning towards Devin Haney getting an early, easy, have an easy night in the early stoppage. Because it almost seems like Ryan Garcia is not taking this fight seriously. Whether you see what's happening on camera or off camera, it just really doesn't seem like Ryan Garcia is taking this fight seriously. So it's almost like at one point you see him doing some work on camera, and then off camera he's doing Twitter spaces and making outrageous tweets and all that type of stuff, and not really looking like he's focused on the bout that's coming up here on April 20th, man. So that's the thing about that. But as of right now, that fight, man, I'm really saying hey, you might as well just bank it in an easy night there for Devin Haney for him to defend his WBC super lightweight title. So that's the thing they got going on with that. We have the other fights that are on that card. A lot of people are really interested in those co-feature bouts, or what's going on there within those fights. You're supposed to have Charles Conwell be involved in a fight. He's finally back at it. So you're gonna see Charles Conwell on there. You're gonna see Arnold Barboza Jr. on there against Sean McComb. Beck the Bullies on the card against Pierre DeBombe. And you got John Scrappy Ramirez against David Jimenez, and Conwell's going up against Nate Gallimore. So, that's the whole thing that says hey, a lot of people will probably just be looking forward to the main event, and that's pretty much it. on Saturday. Big ups to Juice being there in the building. Salute to you, man. You just missed Floyd Schofield Jr. Being on here. It's able to chop it up here for a few minutes there as far as like him. Like he's on the recovery, just like received the IV or whatnot. So he had like some time to chop it up with this, but he'll be able to come back on here for the Boxing Source later on down the line. So y'all be on the lookout for that. But yeah, that mainly that's most of the stuff that's been going on, man. We had the fight card that was yesterday. I expected more out of Jared Anderson there. I wanted to see him be able to put in some more work. It looked like he was just on one gear for the majority of that fight and didn't really switch gears, didn't really make it to where he would engage too much there against Riyad Murray. I think after what it was the second round when he got hit with a counter shot, you really didn't see much else out there coming from Jared Anderson. So yeah, I'm not too sure what they're going to do as far as what's next. If they're just going to keep him, kind of holding them back or keeping them back until all the stuff at the top of the heavyweight division clears itself out, because you could have them, facing a Philip Hergovich. You could have them facing a Deontay Wilder. You could have them facing a Zhilei Zhang, but after seeing what we saw right there, are you really ready to have him go up against any of those guys? I'm not all too sure about that. But, until we see what's next out there for Jared Anderson, then you're probably going to have him have a couple of more, gimme type of fights until they say, hey, okay, we feel like he's ready to step it up to the next level. In reference to the whole thing with Deontay Wilder, though, next year, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that because with Wilder, I think it's just a couple more fights left there before he says, you know what, I'm done with this. So he's probably trying to get in position for the most lucrative fights that are out there possible. And then after that, just call it a day. Whether it's, having a fight with a Zhilei Zhang, which, kind of is put out there. You might see that announced tomorrow. We'll see. But that's one possibility. And then you have the whole thing with Anthony Joshua still out there. They still want to see if they can finally make that fight between those two. So if you got Wilder pretty much tied up with those type of fights, I don't think he would be really interested in a fight with Jared Anderson like that. That wouldn't make much sense for him. So that's pretty much out of the cards. But outside of that, what else for Jared Anderson? Like I said, you ain't gonna have him there against Efe Ajagba. They ain't really being that much in having those fights. So that kind of takes things out of there for him. I talked about the whole thing with that co-feature bout. I don't know why they had Robson Conceição included in that ESPN portion in an 8-round bout. This guy is a world title contender, multiple world title contender, and then they put him, back in an 8-round bout against Jose Ortiz. That one was yeah, and he just beat up that guy there over 7 rounds. Matt Gomez, big ups to you, man. Shout out to you. He says Jared Anderson would drill Andy Ruiz Jr. Hey, that's another fight that could be out there for Jared Anderson. It's Andy Ruiz Jr. But I think Andy Ruiz Jr. is pretty much at the same part or point in his career like Deontay Wilder is, where it says if you ain't giving me a good amount of money to fight, I'm not gonna go ahead and fight. So Andy Ruiz Jr., nah, I don't see that fight, happening either. I mean, a lot of these guys that are at the top or were at the top of the heavyweight division, now it's hey, after I got, this amount of money, I don't feel like getting out the bid for anything less than what, 4 million or anything like that. 4 million, 5 million. So if you're gonna have a fight with Jared Anderson, that's not gonna get you $5 million. So you're not gonna get up, get up out the bed for that. So for Andy Ruiz Jr., he ain't gonna be fighting Jared Anderson. I just don't see that. Yeah, back to the card. Yeah, you had Roberson Conceição, there getting a stoppage win over Jose Ortiz. He's gonna be, likely competing once again in that 130-pound division. He's gonna be back in the mix there, pretty soon. I would like to see what happens there. Of course, you got, the WBC champion O'Shaquie Foster there. So you could see that as a potential bout. But I got to see what's up with O'Shaquie Foster. He did have, a injury after his last bout that was at the theater in Madison Square Garden there. So, after that, you got to see if O'Shaquie Foster is going to have, another, pretty much like another voluntary defense or something like that, or if he's going to try to go for unification. But yeah, outside of that, I don't see where they're going to place Conceição as far as like what could be another good bout for him. Maybe they could have him go up against Nova or something like that, maybe, but we'll see, man. I think, they already had like something where they could have, matched those two up, but I think that might be the next thing is Conceição versus Abraham Nova, and like have that be, a eliminator bout. So you can see that both those fighters there are within top rank. They can make that fight for pretty easily. So I kind of like see that happening. Either that or I don't see that they're gonna put Conceição in there against Oscar Valdez again. Even though Valdez got like a interim title, he's the interim WBO champion. But as far as like a rematch with Conceição, nah, they ain't gonna do that. So that was the other thing that they had out there. And of course, I did mention Abdullah Mason. He had that stoppage win over Ronald Ron. Everybody is like singing praises there for Abdullah Mason. He's looking like a very, very good fighter, out there in the 135-pound division. Now they don't have him, anywhere in the rankings as of yet, at least, from what I'm seeing. So we'll see like how they kind of like match up Abdullah Mason here from this point forward. I think they're gonna put him right back in the ring, probably in July or something like that. Maybe they could have something where he's gonna be involved in that fight card where Jared Anderson is gonna headline back in Toledo, because I mean he's from not that far back or not that far down. They were over in the Cincinnati area, whatnot, Cleveland area. So you're gonna probably see Abdullah Mason, right back in the mix there within July, probably like at the end of July or something like that. So, but he is like one of those top young prospects out there now competing in the lightweight division. So you do have that. But yeah, other than that, there wasn't like what else? There wasn't really much else there that maybe I would kind of like focus on. You have to see what I got a contender there at featherweight in Ruben Villa. He was able to get a decision win there against Christian Cruz. He's ranked up there in the WBC rankings. Maybe they could have him against former world champion Robeisy Ramirez if Robeisy Ramirez doesn't have a rematch with the WBO champion Rafael Espinoza there. So you don't have that rematch between Ramirez and Espinoza, which I feel like that's likely going to happen. Then Villa versus Ramirez would probably be a good little matchup to have there at the 126-pound division. But that's mainly what I got there for that fight card. There was like another thing that I saw the other day. I was trying to see. Oh yeah, that fight between Zelfa Barrett and Jordan Gill. That was a good little fight there that they had over in the UK, over in Manchester. Where Zelfa Barrett was able to get a TKO win over Jordan Gill. I think he had he was the better boxer there over the course of that fight. Pretty much the second half of the fight, he was landed more of the shots, and that Jordan Gill was getting tagged a little bit more than he could pretty much handle. But then those body shots, once those body shots landed in the 10th round, that was pretty much it there for Jordan Gill. So you're able to have Zelfa Barrett get that win there. That's around that 130-pound division where they had that particular fight. So they're kind of like saying like, hey, we're trying to get them moving up in the ranks or whatever it is. I don't know if they're gonna have Barrett go up against someone like a Lee Wood later on down the line or not, but that was a good win there for Zelfa Barrett in a fight that kind of like was a crossroads fight of sorts there for both of those fighters. So that was some good action there. But yeah, other than that, you really don't have that much action going on. Like I said, we got what's going down next week. Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, and I don't know. It's supposed to be a big fight, but does it have the feel of a big fight to y'all? Does it have a feel of a big fight to y'all? I'm not all too sure because we kind of discussed it last week or whatever it is, and it's like because of the expectations of some people that feel like Devin Haney really should be able to pretty much wash Ryan Garcia, that they're not that excited about it, and we talked about the whole thing with ticket sales and whatnot. But yeah, this is supposed to be fight week. Here we are. It's about stepping into fight week, and it's not really giving that type of big fight feel. Maybe things change within the next couple of days, but we'll see about that. But yeah, Haney versus Ryan right now, even though I'm looking forward to seeing what Haney does here in this particular case against Ryan Garcia. Outside of that, I'm not really, giving, anyone giving that type of saying, hey, I'm really excited about this particular fight, Devin Haney does have a better resume by far. Of course, he had the run there with the lightweight division, becoming the undisputed champion at lightweight, having to win over Regis Prograis there for the WBC super lightweight title. So he's definitely had those step-up fights. Lomachenko, George Kambosos, among others there. He's been able to position himself to build to this particular point where, some people kind of consider him to be among the top 10 pound fighters out there. But this fight here is where, hey, he's gonna see if he can show up and show out. Maybe he has another performance like he had against Regis Prograis, where it was a dominant performance where he just about shut out Regis Prograis in that bout last year. So if he has another shutout performance here, that could catapult him to some different things. But it looks like he wants to go ahead and move towards building a profile there in the super lightweight division, where you have a Teofimo Lopez, you have a Subriel Matias, you have a newly crowned champion there in Isaac Cruz, and among the other contenders out there in the super lightweight division. So you do have that. Matt Gomez has a question. What's up with Jarrell Big Baby Miller? Well, he says that he's working on his way back to trying to see if he gets in another fight. But we saw what happened in his performance against Daniel Dubois. That was a very disappointing performance. And then you had what happened in the aftermath of that, which was crazy. So we'll see if there's anything lined up. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask his promoter, Dimitri Salita. I'll see if I can check with Dimitri Salita if there's any update there with Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Now, another heavyweight that Dimitri Salita has is Jermaine Franklin Jr. Of course, y'all are familiar with Jermaine Franklin Jr. from the previous year that he had fights against Dylan White and Anthony Joshua. But now looks like he might be in line to have his next bout be over in Detroit. There for what they have in those events there in Detroit through Salida Promotions. So what did it say was see if I could check with that there. I was trying to get the Big Time Boxing USA, that's on the zone, right? So the Big Time Boxing USA, they've had a couple of cards already there in Detroit. It had like a recent one there that was a couple of weeks ago. So Jermaine Franklin may likely be involved in that next event that's coming up. Demetrius Salida has been working with DAZN to get those cards on for Big Time Boxing USA, and looks like they're giving them more dates in order to have those fight cards there. So if he's able to fit in Jermaine Franklin there for another one, that would be very good. There for Salida Promotions. We need to have more fights, more fight cards there to feature these fighters. And Demetrius Salida has been definitely working hard to do that, particularly in Detroit, which is has a storied history there in the sport of boxing. So we'll see how that goes. What you said, another question there. Daniel Jacobs coming back. Man, I don't know. They had, what was it, the whole thing with him and the face-off with Edgar Berlanga. So I don't know, man. Looks like he's been eating good, so to speak, there. But yeah, I have not seen much from Daniel Jacobs in a long time, man. And after he had that fight, and it's been over 2 years since he's had this fight against Sean Ryder. So. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I don't see him doing something where he's coming back anytime soon, unless if they have something, I guess, lined up for him maybe later on down the line. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I got a reference to Daniel Jacobs, man. What is it? It's about almost 8:45 Eastern time here. Had like some time there with. Floyd Schofield Jr. For those that had just joined in or joined in about 30 minutes in, you can catch the replay there where we chopped it up with Floyd Schofield Jr. Here on the Boxing Source, and like you said, we're gonna see if we could catch up with him for another conversation here later on down the line. But that's what I pretty much got on my side, man. Like I said, the thing with Jared Anderson yesterday. Was a good performance. Had some things where he had to work on a couple of a lot of things to work on as far as trying to finish off a fighter that's not willing to engage. But we'll see how he does in his next bout. That's scheduled to be in Toledo in the summer. And then of course you had Ajagba, that split decision win over Guido Vianello. Was kind of surprised that Vianello was able to have that type of performance there against Ajagba. Blew that chance to at least get a knockdown early in the bout by smothering his work. So that was a pretty good bout. But Efe Ajagba still has some things to work on there, man. You might get with one of his trainers to see what he thought about Efe Ajagba's performance, and then outside of that, we'll see what's going to be next for Efe Ajagba. But that's my summary of that fight card. We got, of course, the thing there with Haney versus Ryan coming up. See if y'all looking forward to that. But big ups for everybody that's, been able to join in live. If you haven't done so already, you can hit the like button and support the Boxing Source. You can also share this particular stream, of course, with, our interview there with Floyd Schofield Jr. We're going to have more content for you, more interviews that are scheduled. Have one that I'm going to post up here later on down the line, whether it's going to be either later today or tomorrow. Chopped it up with the WBC Youth Welterweight Champion, Jaleel Major Hackett. Yeah, so I was able to chop it up with Jaleel Major Hackett, and I'll be able to post that up here on the YouTube channel here a little bit later. So y'all be on the lookout for that. And then trying to secure more interviews here, whether it's within this next week or the following week there. So y'all be able to enjoy those. But once again, big thanks for everyone for joining here on this particular episode of the Boxing Source podcast. Like I say at the end of every show, point of boxing is to hit, not get hit, not understand and trade. On that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good evening, everybody.